What's up, YouTube? This is Mathos97, and welcome back to another episode of Smackdown vs. Raw 2008 General Manager Mode. As you can see, we got Match of the Week in the last episode. Take a look, we're back in second place after that little flip-flop we did with Raw. But, as you are aware, we are 1 week away from the Survivor Series pay-per-view, and I have decided to book things in that whole tag team whole match card that I decided to do. But I thought about it for a little while, and I figured, you know what, wasn't really in the mood to play a tag team match, and you're probably like, well, then why would you book all these tag team matches? You're an idiot. Well, I just figured, you know what, I'm eager to get to Survivor Series, so yeah, as you can see, here are the matches. We're just gonna simulate this match card, get right on to Survivor Series. Let's take a look. The Hardy Boys defeat the Brothers of... they were defeated by the Brothers of Destruction. Once I learned how to read. CM Punk and HBK defeated the team of Johnny Nitro, Mark Henry, and Tables. Tornado Tag team right here. Team of Chris Masters and Batista defeated Mr. Kennedy, Elijah Burke. Mysterio and Edge defeated Evolution, and Terry Funk and Mick Foley defeated... Sabu and Sandman. There we go. In a hardcore tag team main event. So, that means we have the Survivor Series pay-per-view coming up, and we have 2 matches. Now, they're not 2 matches that I can actually book. Obviously I have to book them. But one of them, because this is Survivor Series, I completely forgot that there's a joint brand Elimination Chamber match. So that means we are going to have 2 matches. We're going to be playing 2 matches in this episode. We're going to be playing both of them. But we have one... we'll take a look here. All the brands will face off at Survivor Series in an Elimination Chamber... That was my Jim Ross. I don't even know what I'm doing. Each GM will get to select 2 superstars to compete in an Elimination Chamber matchup, basically, in a nutshell. But... here are our rivalries, and we're going to be incorporating some of these rivalries into our 2 matchups. For the Elimination Chamber match, I figure we're going to go ahead and book Chris Masters and Mr. Kennedy in the Elimination Chamber matchup, since they have my toe just popped. Apologize for that if you caught that or not. Probably didn't, so that was irrelevant. Anyway, as you can see, there are the matches that the other shows got booked, but we've got 2. We get to book 2 superstars in the main event, which is the Elimination Chamber joint branded spectacular. So what I decided to do, we're going to put Mr. Kennedy and Chris Masters in that Elimination Chamber main event. And what we're going to do here, we're going to have a 6-man battle royal. I was debating Hell in the Cell, but I figure, that's been the standard lately for our pay-per-views. We do that a lot. So I figure, we'll mix it up a little bit. I don't know how that's going to affect the ratings. It might drop from instead of being a 5-star match, might be like a 4.5 or something like that. But, we got to add a little bit of variety. So what we're going to do here, we're going to do a 6-man battle royal, and we're going to incorporate our feuds. This was a matchup that was actually suggested to me, to have Randy Orton, Batista, Edge, Terry Funk, Sabu, and Mick Foley. Now, instead of Mick Foley, it might have been Sandman in the suggestion, but I figured since Sandman is just kind of new around here, Mick Foley is more deserving of that spot. So, we got a bit of ECW veterans, ECW originals, and some of our other talent in that matchup. And then, of course, the Elimination Chamber match between Mr. Kennedy and Chris Masters, and then all the other superstars. So let's go ahead, get into the pay-per-view. Kenny Dykstra and Rick Rude defeat Kelly. King Booker and Snitsky defeat Finlay and Chavo for the tag team titles. And Gregory Helms defeats Bret Hart. Screw you, Bret Hart! That's right, Bret screwed Bret. That's why he's not on ECW anymore, because Bret screwed Bret. That's what happened. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to look to see who we're going to be playing as here, and we have to land on an ECW guy. I'm not helping the other shows win this match. So, I'm going to keep going, and it looks like we're going to be Chris Masters in this Elimination Chamber match, and it looks like Shad and the Great Khali are starting things off now. I think I figured this out, that The Rock and the Great Khali are on Smackdown. Shad and William Regal are on Raw. Because if you remember... Back on an episode of Smackdown a while ago, The Rock and the Great Khali faced off for the U.S. title. So that leaves Khali and The Rock on Smackdown. And we've got Shad and Regal on Monday Night Raw. So not too stiff competition. I really think the only threat in this matchup is indeed The Rock. So we got to worry about him as well. But then, of course, we got the animosity, the personal feud going on between Mr. Kennedy and Chris Masters. So will they be able to put their differences aside to eliminate the rest of the competition? Because, while this is a career match for both those 2 superstars, so I mean, I guess if it doesn't work out and, you know, they both get eliminated by someone on the other show, then I guess we'll have to do something else on the next episode of ECW or something. But, I mean, come on, this is the AI. It shouldn't be too much of a challenge. So we can see Chris Masters entering the Elimination Chamber. But, yeah, so basically what they're probably going to try to do, I mean, they gotta work together for a little, I mean, they gotta work together for a while. I mean, I guess they don't have to, but I mean, if they're trying to do what's best for business for the ECW brand, they gotta work together to eliminate all these other guys from, all these other superstars from the other show. And then they can, you know, make it down to the final two, and then they know that they have the pleasure of eliminating each other to end their careers on ECW. So, whoever doesn't win the Elimination Chamber matchup, or whoever doesn't get eliminated by the other, is not going to be on ECW. This will be the last appearance. So, will it be Chris Masters, or will it be Mr. Kennedy who make their final stand here in ECW? Hopefully, they can work together enough to get the victory in this Elimination Chamber match, and now it is Mr. Kennedy who enters the fold. So, both of our ECW guys are now in there. We've got a Raw superstar in Shad and a Smackdown guy, the Great Khali, as we see. Oh, well, Masters and Kennedy were going after each other for a little bit there, but then the Great Khali got in and broke that up, which might not have been the smartest decision, as now Chris Masters had him up for a full Nelson Slam, taking the Great Khali down, goes into the cover, but Khali immediately powers out, just tossing Chris Masters almost halfway across the ring. Nice DDT there by Mr. Kennedy, taking Shad down. So for now, it looks like, wait, what the hell? What? That's the only time you'll ever see the Great Khali jump that high, folks. Only in a video game. Yeah, but anyway, so well, for a while there, Masters and okay, it looks like they're I don't know what they're doing. They're kind of going back and forth, but for the moment, for the time being, they are taking out the superstars from the other shows, because you got to think that they want to eliminate each other in this one. And that's really the only way this whole career stipulation to this chamber match is going to apply, is if they eliminate each other, because, you know, if, say, Shad eliminates Mr. Kennedy, that doesn't really work. But as we see Rock with a roll-up on Khali, that's 2, but no, the big man kicks out. I imagine there's a bit of a beef between Khali and The Rock. I mean, The Rock, he's got just about every title on SmackDown. Khali, I think Khali won the U.S. title from him or something, so it might be a little beef there between those two. And Shad and Regal, I don't know if they have anything going on Raw, but so we can see Khali just gets taken down there by Masters, and now Chris Masters, the Master Lock, locked in the full Nelson submission hold. Can he make the Great Khali tap out? No, Khali breaks out of the Master Lock. Not too many people have done that. I think even in the real WWE, I think only 2 people have broken out of it, if I'm correct. I mean, because they had a whole thing going where no one had broken out of it, and then it was Bobby Lashley. Then I think Kane did it once, and from that point on, they might have just completely killed it, and tons of people might have broken out of it, for all I know. But the Great Khali was just eliminated there as Masters had him in a bear hug. Regal enters the chamber. So we've got everybody in this matchup right now, folks. We've got 2 superstars from Raw, 1 from SmackDown, and 2 from ECW, as we've got The Rock, the only SmackDown superstar remaining now. We got Shad and Regal from Raw, then we got Mr. Kennedy and Chris Masters from from ECW, of course. And now look at this, Chris Masters, full Nelson Slam, taking out William Regal to maybe go for the elimination, but no, instead, it's going to take a little time to gloat. That could cost him as Shad tosses him over the top rope to the chamber floor. Mr. Kennedy now, he's got the Rock pile driver to the Rock. I guess that move wasn't banned by this year. I don't know. That's actually, you don't see, you know, most superstars don't do pile drivers in the newer games, but that one almost looked like a very basic, non-threatening pile driver that was actually a part of Kennedy's moveset. As we can see, The Rock now starting to get fired up. Masters tossed back to the outside. It's Kennedy now just kind of trying to fight people off. Now it looks like he's going to go after Regal. But like I said, the career stipulation between Kennedy and Masters won't apply if they both get eliminated by, you know, other superstars. I mean, I could if you wanted to, but I guess we'll just have to wait to see how things play out. Because, I mean, if they, like, both get eliminated by people from other brands or something, I guess we could do whoever lasts the longest. We could do that. But I'd have to think for these 2 superstars, they'd want to personally eliminate each other. As we can see, Masters now just took Kennedy down with a brain buster. Here's Regal. Oh, back suplex right onto the arm. Kick out there by Shad as Masters almost had him on a roll-up there. As now, big neck breaker taking down The Rock. Regal tossed to the outside.
And there's the reversal.
And The Rock now pushes away Shad there. Kennedy from behind. Nice double team there from those two, taking down the big man Shad. As now The Rock tossed to the outside. Kennedy tossed to the outside. And there's Masters with a chop right to the chest of William Regal. And Regal counters. Shad up to the top rope here. What's the big man? What's one half of Crime Time looking for here? Elbow drop out onto Mr. Kennedy. But I thought Shad actually could have gone for a cover or something there. But electing not to do so. Here's Chris Masters. Back suplex off the top rope to William Regal. The Rock and Shad still going at it there on the outside now. Shad maybe could be about to eliminate The Rock here. Samoan drop onto the chamber floor. What a nice suplex there from Masters. Covered by Shad. 2, 3. The Rock has been eliminated. And we are down. Smackdown's out of this one, so we're down to Raw and ECW as Chris Masters hits a nice elbow drop there onto William Regal. And now Chris Masters, he's got the full Nelson. The Master Lock locked in on William Regal. And William Regal, he's not nearly the heights or the strength of the Great Khali. Regal has to tap out. This Masters now just kind of chucking him to the mat there. As we're down to 2 ECW guys in Chris Masters and Mr. Kennedy. And then we've got Shad. As there's a big shoulder charge into the corner from Chris Masters. As Shad has been in there since the very beginning. He started this match off up against Great Khali. As now Masters takes Shad down with a nice DDT. Kennedy making it back to his feet there on the outside. And now Chris Masters, the Master Lock applied to Shad. And Shad now is forced to tap out. So no matter what happens, the ECW brand is going to be winning this Elimination Chamber event. But now we're down to 2. It is Chris Masters and Mr. Kennedy. And Chris Masters has been on fire since entering this one. Mr. Kennedy, on the other hand, I don't know. Mr. Kennedy, he's holding his ribs there. He's looking a bit winded, a bit injured potentially here in this one. Look at this, going for an elbow drop. And I think he just caught the back of Chris Masters. I mean, that's going to do a good job trying to keep him down. Kennedy probably wants to go for a speed approach to this one. Masters, probably more of a power game. And now what is this? Oh, a jumping arm breaker right there. So we know Regal did do that back suplex and got Masters' arm all wrapped up. So if Kennedy, if he wants to start targeting the arm, might not be a bad strategy here. What is this? Masters tossing Kennedy off to the top, or off the top. And now Masters, whoa, Chris Masters going up on top of the pod. Look at this elbow drop at Kennedy. Kennedy rolled out of the way at the last second. Chris Masters landed right on his head. I think Masters, he can't even make it back to his feet. Kennedy, he could probably go for a cover. He might have him here, but Kennedy, elbow drop off the top rope to the back of Chris Masters. And Masters, I mean, he can't even stand up right now. He may have just, broke his neck there for all we know. Masters, once again, another elbow drop there from Kennedy. And Kennedy going to the top rope once again for a third elbow drop. This time, Masters rolls out of the way. So I guess my broken neck theory about Chris Masters is no longer valid, as Masters now has Kennedy in a headlock. And because these two are the final, because these superstars are the final 2 left in the matchup, the career stipulation will apply. So whoever wins this one not only secures the victory for the ECW brand, but they also eliminate their competition and end their careers in ECW. So if Kennedy wins here, as he takes Masters down, he will remain in ECW. If Masters comes out with a victory and eliminates Kennedy, then Chris Masters will remain in ECW. And both these two, I'm pretty sure Kennedy was in original ECW as well, but I know Chris Masters was one of the original 4, in the main event title scene. So it was Mark Henry, Kane, Undertaker, and Chris Masters. There's some stomps from Kennedy. Kennedy goes into the cover. There's 2. Kennedy got it. Mr. Kennedy eliminates Chris Masters, and he has just ended Chris Masters' career here on ECW. And Mr. Kennedy has got the victory for ECW in this Elimination Chamber matchup. So Mr. Kennedy not only keeps his career in ECW alive, but he eliminates the veteran Chris Masters. I mean, Chris Masters, like I said, I think Kennedy has been here since the beginning as well, but Chris Masters, for sure, was one of the top guys since the very beginning of the company. Both these two kind of faded out for a little while, but now it looks like Chris Masters, he's going to have to go find a job somewhere else whether he goes to SmackDown or Raw, who's to know. I think at the end of the video, though, I will go ahead and show you guys the rosters. And if you have any suggestions, of course, for trades, be sure to leave them down in the comments section, because Chris Masters is out of ECW. I mean, we're going to trade him away. I know I did get a bunch of suggestions for the Chris Jericho Creative Wrestler, which I may go for that. Still thinking, though, because I think, like, depending on what superstar I go for, I may have to drop Chris Masters' popularity, because I'm stingy like that. I'm cheap, so I can't let the other brands get that extra superstar with all this popularity. No, I'm gonna drop him down to the appropriate amount before I trade him for a new superstar. So you might have another episode yet before I trade away Chris Masters. So Masters is officially gone from ECW. Mr. Kennedy, he lives on in his ECW career. It will continue. So now, what does the future hold, not only for Chris Masters, which at this point don't really care about because he's not going to be on our show, but what does the future hold for Mr. Kennedy now that he has just eliminated Chris Masters from he's just ended Masters' career? I guess you could say he eliminated Masters from ECW. That's a bit of a speaking error on my part, but yeah, that kind of makes sense. But anyway, we now have this main event, 6-man Battle Royal for the ECW Championship. We've got the Viper, the Apex Predator, the Legend Killer, Randy Orton. We've got Edge. We've got Mick Foley, Batista, Terry Funk, and then, of course, the ECW champion himself, the suicidal, homicidal, genocidal Sabu. So the question is, who will walk out of this 6-man Battle Royal with the ECW Championship? Because the title is up for grabs here. And we've got a bunch of superstars who have been contending for that title. Of course, we've got Sabu, the current champ. We've got Batista, the former champ. Edge and Orton, both former champions with their own sort of short singles reigns that didn't really last all that long. And then we've got Terry Funk, who's been in a long-time feud with Sabu recently. And then we've got Mick Foley, who's been Terry Funk's ally. He's also been involved in this feud with Sabu. And big power slam there by Batista. So, I mean, we got a lot of superstars here contending for that ECW Championship. Let's have to find out who comes out with the victory. In case you're wondering, I am playing as... I'm just kidding. I'm not going to tell you who I'm playing as. But, yeah, I'm sure you'll figure that out possibly. Actually, I don't know. I don't think... No. Maybe the counter icons only do pop up for the player. Because, I don't know. I was thinking, like, in certain games, it seems like even with the AI, it'll still have the little pop-ups next to their name, but I don't think it does. So, I'm playing as Terry Funk, if it hasn't already been spoiled, which it probably has. I'm just not paying enough attention to the gameplay, I guess, but I'm looking more at the match itself rather than the sidebar things. This big near to the face of Edge there by Terry Funk. Look at Randy Orton spinning Batista around on his shoulders there. Of course, this whole ECW Championship scene has been in a bit of flux ever since the recent ECW pay-per-view, when Batista was the champ, and then Orton won it in a Hell in a Cell, lost it to Edge on the next night. Wait a minute, cover here by Terry Funk. 2 count, 3 Edges eliminated. Gotta remember that Terry Funk did use that Texas pile driver to put Edge away, drops him right on his head. So we're down to 5 now. But then, of course, there was a triple threat between Edge, Orton, and Batista. Batista won it back. And then a couple weeks later, Batista lost the title to Sabu in a steel cage match. And ever since then, Sabu has held on to the championship. So, I mean, this is just kind of that way of making sure that everybody has got their opportunity for the ECW Championship that deserves it. Because, you know, for a couple of weeks there, the title was just sort of going all over the place. I mean, Batista had it, then Orton had it, then Edge had it, then Batista had it again. So, I mean, it's just kind of a way to make sure that everyone gets the opportunity that they deserve. But looking at this a little bit so far, it looks almost like the ECW legends have been kind of ganging up against the other talent, the other superstars, and vice versa. I mean, you'd think Terry Funk and Sabu would be going right after each other, but for the most part, they haven't done too much. I mean, right now it looks like Terry Funk has set his sights on Sabu, but for a while, you know, we saw Terry Funk eliminate Edge, so I guess maybe they just didn't get that encounter in the ring. Or maybe the Legends are actually trying to work together, and the same goes for the other ECW superstars. Let's look at this. Terry Funk and Sabu working together, a double suplex there to Mick Foley. But then again, you got to remember what is on the line. The ECW Championship is up for grabs. So I mean, it doesn't matter. You can have an ally. That'd be a good strategy in the early goings of this one. Work together with an ally, but in the end, it's every man for himself. So you got to keep that in mind. Big clothesline there by Batista. As we've got the 5 here, Batista, another big clothesline, almost beheading Mick Foley there. And there's a huge clothesline from Randy Orton, and now Batista, another one to Sabu. As now it looks like Evolution. Orton and Batista have kind of taken over in this one. Batista, there's the cover on Mick Foley. There's one. No, Mick Foley managed to kick out. Almost looked like Terry Funk was trying to help him out there. Because that's not a bad strategy. You look at someone like Batista, this big genetic freak, this jacked superstar. And I mean, he's a pretty powerful guy. 2-time former ECW champion. So, I mean, Batista is a pretty big threat in this one. As we see Randy Orton. Nope, there's a counter there by Terry Funk. So, Orton's got a finisher stored currently. But, I mean, I guess Orton is also a former ECW champion. Sabu, the current champ. So, you got to think, who is the prime target for elimination in this one? Who do you want to go after first? So, we see Orton with a low blow to Mick Foley right there. And now Batista has Randy Orton up and turns it into a power slam there out of that suplex. And now Sabu going into the cover on Orton. There's 2. And Randy Orton is eliminated. So Batista hit that big power slam. That jackhammer. That's almost like a jackhammer. And there's a cover by Sabu. And now Sabu has eliminated 2 people in a row. He just eliminated Randy Orton and Mick Foley. So we're down to 3. Big spear by Batista. He may have just broken Terry Funk in half. And now Sabu with a DDT to Batista. Sabu maybe looking to eliminate Terry Funk next. If he goes for nope. Terry Funk got up before Sabu could go for a cover there. But as we're down to Terry Funk, Sabu, and Batista here in this one. Sabu just kind of sneaking in, picking up the scraps to eliminate both Randy Orton and Mick Foley. As now it is Terry Funk, Batista, and Sabu. And by the looks of things, Batista's in the best shape currently in this match. We'll see if there's a nice short arm clothesline. And oh, what a move there. Another clothesline nearly turned Terry Funk inside out there. As right now, it looks like Batista's currently in the best shape. I mean, we've got both Sabu and Terry Funk favoring their ribs here in this one. Whereas Batista seems barely damaged. He doesn't seem that hurt. So, I don't know. I think it might actually be in the best interest of these 2 superstars to double team Batista. But then again, we got to remember the personal animosity between Sabu and Terry Funk. So, I highly doubt they're going to work together to take out Batista. As there's a big knee right to the face of Sabu by Terry Funk. And now Batista going after Sabu. Sabu trying to fight back. But here's Batista. 2-handed choke slam, taking Sabu down. And now Terry Funk trying to go after Batista. But Batista with a big boot. Almost dropped Terry Funk there. But now there's a hard Irish whip over there into the turnbuckle. And now Batista going after Sabu. And I think Sabu's just been busted open off that headbutt. Of course, connected with a couple of rights and lefts here from Batista. And now, I don't know. That punch from Sabu, he sees the blood. It only seems to have fired up Sabu. And Sabu, this could be his opening, his second win. This could be the opportunity that Sabu needs to come back in this one. Thought he might have gone after Batista, but nope, this is just that personal rivalry between these 2 superstars. Sabu going right after Terry Funk here. Has him caught up in the ropes. That's not a position you want to be in. Luckily for Terry Funk, he manages to escape fairly quickly and delivers a clothesline to Sabu, taking him down. As now the champ makes it back to his feet. Tried to kick Batista there. That didn't work out very well. And now Batista, spinning neck breaker, taking down Terry Funk. Sabu now diving leg drop onto Terry Funk. I'm not sure if he was trying to go for Funk or if he might have been going for Batista and just missed. But either way, Batista's just on a rampage right now. Big shoulder block, taking down Sabu. And once again, back with the mounted punches and headbutts to the face of Sabu. But now Sabu fights back with a headbutt of his own, taking Batista down. And now the 2 veterans working together. There's a nice leg sweep there from behind by Terry Funk, taking down Batista. And now Sabu going right after Terry Funk. As Batista now can just kind of rest up a little bit, just watch these 2 legends tear each other apart. And I mean, if that happens, then Batista, you can almost hand him the championship. As we see Sabu now, there's a shot to the gut. And back suplex, taking down Terry Funk. Funk might be out of it. Batista sneaking in for the cover, hooks the leg. 1, 2, 3. Terry Funk is eliminated. And I'm sure Sabu... Oh, big boot by Batista. Well, I was going to say, I'm sure Sabu's pretty happy about that his arch rival has just been eliminated from this Battle Royal for the title. But I don't even know if he really had time to think. He got caught with a big boot right away by Batista. And now Sabu could be out of it. Batista might be going for a cover here. Oh, wait, no. Oh, no, Batista looking to add an exclamation point for this one. Going for the Batista bomb. He's got him up. Sabu counters into a DDT. Sabu, this could be his opening. This could be the opening Sabu needs off the top. Corkscrew, but no, Batista rolled out of the way there. But these are the final two. We got to remember, a couple of weeks ago in that steel cage, Batista was the man Sabu defeated to win the title. So, Batista looking for a bit of vengeance here against Sabu. Sabu, on the other hand, he's here now. His rival's been eliminated, so now he's got to have all sights set on retaining that ECW Championship. But, of course, Sabu wearing the wounds of this one. He's busted open. He's got the blood all over his face. And Batista, on the other hand, still seems like he's better off than Sabu in this one. He's looking a bit healthier, not really favoring any limbs or anything. Big DDT there by Sabu, and Batista maybe favoring his head after that one. Sabu going after the leg, but Batista fighting him off, kicking him away. And now Batista has him in that collar and elbow tie-up. But wait a minute, here's a counter into a headlock by Sabu. Sabu, what's he going for here? He's up on Batista's shoulders. Oh, another DDT off the shoulders of Batista. Sabu, if he can just cover him, but as we can see, he's favoring his head now. Could potentially have a concussion after all those vicious punches to the face by Batista. Was unable to capitalize off that DDT. And a big clothesline by Batista. Just completely turns Sabu inside out. There's a cover. 1, 2. No, Sabu. Sabu stays alive, kicks out of that one. And maybe if Batista had hooked the leg, you might have had him. Big clothesline once again. But Sabu this time makes it back to his feet. Gotta think Sabu at this point is just kind of running on adrenaline. He has sustained a lot of punishment, lost a lot of blood so far in this one. Batista, on the other hand, hasn't lost any blood, and only now seems to be favoring his head. So Batista's a bit better off than Sabu in this one. And Sabu, I think the longer this matchup goes, the more it's going to favor Batista. Actually, no. I actually think the more it would... Yeah, I'd probably still favor Batista, because the longer this match goes on, the more blood Sabu's going to lose. As Batista, this time, Sabu blocked the clothesline. But Batista, of course, he doesn't want to take too much punishment. That's where I was kind of thinking the match might favor Sabu. But Batista now manhandling Sabu, driving him through the mat with that power slam. Now favoring his head there a little bit. Batista, he's going to want to try to wrap things up quickly as well. As now he picks him up by the throat. And now measuring him once again. Can he hit it this time? He's got him up. Going for the Batista bomb, and he takes him down. Hooks the leg. 1, 2, 3. Batista is your new ECW champion. And Sabu, can't take anything away from Sabu. He put up one heck of a fight near the end of that one. Of course, with all the blood all over the mat dripping from his face. He countered the Batista bomb once. Kicked out of that huge clothesline from Batista. And, I mean, Sabu, he got one thing accomplished here tonight. He did manage to get his rival, Terry Funk, eliminated. Make sure that he didn't win the ECW Championship. But Batista, in the end, is your new ECW champion. He's now a 3-time ECW champion. So Sabu, he may have accomplished one thing, but, you know, his goal of walking out the ECW champion did not come to fruition, as Batista is your new ECW champion. I'm sure he's got to be proud. Hopefully this time he can hang on to it a bit longer than he did in his past 2 reigns. But Batista is victorious. That was your Survivor Series pay-per-view. Let's go ahead and check out WWE.com. Hell on Earth. So we can see Raw got the plus 400,000 fans. What the heck? Mr. Kennedy may have technically gotten the victory over William Regal, but at what cost? Blood was spilled and careers were shortened, especially the career. As we can see, we won the Elimination Chamber and we earned the last spot in the Royal Rumble. I completely forgot about that stipulation, but that is awesome. As you can see, there's some congratulations by Vince McMahon. But Chris Masters, his career in ECW has come to an end. So that's definitely being shortened. I had to say so myself. Let's check out the ratings. We got a 3.5 on the pay-per-view. We got a 4.5 star in that one. And the Elimination Chamber got us 4 stars as well. So it's a pretty good pay-per-view, I'd say, for us. Of course, the joint branded pay-per-view, I think we may have won that one. I was just going through here adjusting some contracts. So I figured you didn't want to see that. And we want to go ahead and end this rivalry because Masters will no longer be competing on this show. But I've got another idea. I mean, that whole 6-man battle royal gave me the idea. I want to know what you might think of it. Let me know down in the comment section if you approve. But what if I did a storyline where it was the ECW originals versus, the other ECW guys? So I could put together, like, of course, the legends, maybe even guys like CM Punk, Sabu, Mick Foley, those kind of guys, and feud them up against guys like Batista, Orton, Edge, Triple H, that sort of thing. So let me know what you think of that idea in the comment section below. Of course, I want to thank you all for watching, and as always, keep on YouTubing.